Hey everybody, welcome back to another speed painting episode. In this episode brought to you by MichToy Soldier, I will walk through my speed painting process of a Death Korps of Krieg proxy infantryman. Let's begin with the base colors. First things first, I begin by priming the model in Stynylres's black primer. It's a great primer, it's easy to use, and you can use it right out of the bottle. Once the primer is all cured, I break out the Command Green by AK Interactive's 3G line and apply a nice, even, but thin coat all over the model, making sure not to blob it up in places. Once the first color is established, I get out AK Interactive's 3G Gray-Green and use this as my highlight color, hitting the model from the top down. Now keep in mind you can use a brush at this point, but make sure to keep the recesses more with that original Command Green color. Also to keep in mind, since this is a speed painting video, I won't be going back over any extreme highlights, but feel free to do it on your own. Now I'll be covering the metal bits with 3G's Rubber Black. This is a great color to use for any sort of metallic bits. I typically don't like to use that many metallic colors to create my metal. I'll go back in later on if I really want to and create that sheen effect with some graphite. But for now, I'll use Rubber Black and block in all those places because it's a nice black color without being too dark. It has a little hint of green, I'd say, in there. But yeah, it's a great color. Next up is 3G's Leather Brown. I'll be using this for the gas mask, the gloves, the boots, and any other little leather bit on the model. Now keep in mind, I'm just doing this entire process now as a speed painting issue, that I do not go back and add highlights. I will add a wash and that'll be enough. Keep in mind I've got 100 guys to do in this entire army, so less is more at this point. And once the boots are done, I'll come back in with a gray-green color, or a green-gray. I get the two mixed up all the time. Yep, green-gray. And I will get the wraps around the boots. And that is it for the base coating process. Now moving on to adding some definition on our model. First things first, I'll make a mixture of matte effect thinner, fast dry thinner, and also some track wash. I want to emulate the look of some really dark colors that you associate with mud and grime, and this will act as our shadowing color for the entire model. I'll go about adding some nice, good coverage in all the folds and recesses of the model and let that dry for a little bit. It shouldn't take too long because you got the matte effect thinner and the fast dry thinner, and once it's dry, I'll go back in with a little bit of my thinner and clean up any of the excess. At this point, I'm making sure it's all getting the recesses right there. And if I go back and I see there's any pooling going on, I'll wick it off there. Keep in mind, I didn't have to seal the model. Typically, if you let the 3G paints, dry long enough, nothing really, no breakdown of the paint will occur. And now you can see I go back in a little bit of my thinner and clean up any of the pools or excess that was left over in the previous step. Now that I have the definition under control and established in the model, it's time to add a little bit more dust and grime to the model. I take my dust effects, my track wash, and my thinner, and I start to apply nice little, crease washes, if you want to call them, or pin washes, of dirt and, grime to all of his tools, his backpack there, or I should say his radio, and anything like that where you just think that, dust would accumulate over the course of being in field. It's a great color to use. I like it because it creates more contrast between darker elements. And once that's done, I go about establishing the base, which will actually match the artillery piece I did previously. I use AK Interactive's Muddy Ground, and I just, apply that nice and generously along the base. If I want to go back later on and add maybe a good wash, that'll really make it look good. It'll make it pop. But just for now, until I get all the guys on the table, all 100 of them, it'll be good enough for now. Once I have the mud in place, it's time to come back to my Rubber Black, and I'll take my airbrush and very lightly establish that nice black lip ring around the model. And there we have it, the quick and dirty but easy way to get done a nice impressive troop, who was actually one of 100, on the table and ready to go in no time. Again, you can always go back and add more detail to each model. That's your choice, but this was where speed is the most important factor. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'm Jake Richards. Have a great one.